All right, good afternoon, Chords and Notes Nation. Brian here, coming back with another audiobook review. This one I'm really excited about too. The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. Read by Edward Herman. Produced by Classics on Compact Disc. Woo-hoo! 8 hours and 30 minutes, 7 discs. Well worth it. Absolutely well worth it. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 4. That's how much I loved it. We'll start with the actual audiobook itself. One man reading the story. He's a Tony winner, Emmy winner, award winner. Guy knows what he's doing. He knows how to do it. He does it right. I really enjoyed listening to him read the story, and yeah, I'm really happy with that part of it. The story itself, wow, loved it. Loved every minute of it. It was fascinating. These characters were fascinating. So it's centered around a man named Howard Rourke, who is an architect, a young architect breaking into this world of architecture. And I want to say it was set in the late 1920s, New York area. No, it was New York, yeah. And he's a man who possesses a very unique way of looking at the world. He's very much an individualist in the sense that his belief is you're doing something because you're able to do it, and to be uncompromising about it and not allow outside forces to manipulate or alter the way that things that you do. And I mean, that's pretty much the synopsis of the way he thinks. There's a lot more deep philosophy going on in this book than would seem, and that demands multiple readings. I know there were parts in the book that I had to re-listen to, or listen to multiple times, not because I didn't understand it, but because I wanted to understand it better. And that was exciting for me. I enjoyed it because there's quite a few audiobooks where you can't wait for it to end, but not so with this one. So his ideas as an architect are a bit revolutionary for his time, the way he designs things, and he's not always it takes him a while to start being successful, but he keeps working at it. He doesn't compromise his beliefs, his art, his creativity. He had opportunities where he could have sold out in that sense, like some of his other colleagues did. And I don't know if this is like a protagonist-antagonist situation or type of book, but the closest, so he would be the protagonist, and the closest to an antagonist would be Ellsworth Toohey, who is he's a critic. He's an architecture critic who holds quite a bit of sway when it comes to his newspaper articles and his opinions. But he also has some pretty strong philosophical beliefs. So Howard Rourke being a strong individualist, Ellsworth Toohey being a strong collectivist, believing in the collective good of mankind. Well, not good, ultimately. He'll tell you it's good, but his aim is to control people, and that's the aim of any sort of collective mindset. And so Ayn Rand does a really good job of bringing out both of these opposing philosophies and comparing and contrasting them. And it makes me think a lot on what's going on today and how much this battle still goes on. The battle between individualism and, this country being founded on the freedom of the individual to pursue their own happiness is what has built this country. There's other things that can be talked about, can be had. But ultimately, if you look at our Constitution and the writings of the founding fathers of the United States, you start to understand where they were trying to depart from the tyranny that has historically done a lot of wrong. Yes, according to today's standards, there are certain things that they were a part of that we look upon poorly, slavery and such. However, we still have it in this country today, and let's not shy away from that reality. It's just more of a hidden slavery. It's not out in the open. It's called human trafficking, and we have a lot of it in this country. So nobody's perfect. Our generation isn't perfect. Their generation wasn't perfect. End of story there, as far as I'm concerned. But this idea that the individual has their own mind, and they were given that mind by our Creator, and to pursue, the world is in front of us. We weren't born into this world like the other animals that are able to survive. We need to take from the earth and construct homes or harvest from the fields and the forests the food that we need, make the clothing that we need, that sort of thing. And that all comes from the individual mind versus, I like how Howard Roark said, there's no collective mind. The mind belongs to the individual, and therefore the individual is sovereign. And that's so true. And in the collectivist mindset being, the average is what's best. Anything above that, because collectivism is about control. It'll be sold as many things. You shouldn't aspire to be anything more than average, because that's not right. That's not good. You can't be better than the person next to you, because then you're taking from them. That sort of thing. My favorite band of all time, Rush, took from this book and created one of the greatest albums of all time, 2112. And the story was very much inspired by the Fountainhead. And it was sort of their lives as a band changed as a result, because they were at their lowest point in life. Things weren't going so well for them as a group, and the record company was pressing on them and wanting them to conform to what they wanted, which is exactly the theme that was going on in the Fountainhead. And Neil Peart, their lyricist and drummer, was very much into Ayn Rand at that time, and even in the liner notes, it says it was inspired by the Fountainhead. So here you have that that philosophy that was buried in a book put into practice by real breathing human beings recently, relatively recently, and it's a wonderful story, right? Um, they did what they wanted, and the people said we love it, and the record company just shut their mouth and said you can just do whatever you want, and that's pretty much what happened in here with Howard Rourke. Finally, he won out, and he was able to create whatever he wanted without anyone putting their stamp on it or trying to alter it. So, anyways, it's a great listen to. I think it has to be one of the absolute musts in American literature, and it's going to garner. Apparently, there's a movie that was made in the 40s. I want to say it was. Gary Cooper is the lead role. There is a love story in here. I didn't spend much time talking about that because that's not something that I focused on. It was very interesting interplay there. We'll just put it that way. But anyways, so I want to see the movie, and I'll probably do a review on the movie as well, and then get the actual physical book and read it as well. So have multiple ways of looking at this story, and yeah. So that's all I have. Thank you so very much. Enjoy your day. Stay safe out there. Stay warm, and we'll talk to you soon.